Hey everyone, it's Ryan from WM Guitars. Today I've got a bit of an interesting topic actually, and I thought I'd just, sit here and have a chat basically. Today's all about sustainability in our industry. I personally don't like to be involved in an industry that causes damage and kind of long-lasting repercussions that not only myself but maybe my children will have to deal with in future. So there are a few companies out there that have this kind of in mind in their ethics and the way that they go about business, and this is something that we look out for and try and support as in any way we can basically. So today I want to bring light to these guys, Breedlove guitars, but also mention a few things about sustainability in our industry. The guitar industry only takes up about 10, maximum probably about 15% of the wood that's felled in the world. So we're a small dent on what could be a bigger problem. The furniture industry is one of the biggest uses for timber, for raw timber. However, guitars are still made from it, and whether we support people that actually are trying to make a difference and make their guitars sustainable is something that we look out for very muchly. So the problems, what could be the issues? This is such a wide topic, so I don't really know where to begin, but please debate anything that I say in the comments. I'm still I'm doing loads of research on this kind of topic, and the more I dig, the more I find out, the more things come to light with a lot of the bigger companies that I actually realise why we don't and why I'm happy not to support them. But clear cutting is a massive thing. So clear cutting is the most economical procedure of felling raw timber, where a company would go into a patch of forest and just say, there's 50, 100 acres, knock it all down, just cut it all, load it up and get it out. But the problem with that is mainly the wildlife. So you're destroying massive habitats of where wildlife are living, their ecospheres. But not only that, is you have irreparable damage, I can never say that word, to the topsoil. So topsoil is something that needs to be there for the nutrients for further growth, for development of that little ecosphere in that region. And forest or woodland topsoil has some of the richest nutrients. That's why you see a lot of mushrooms grow there, a lot of fungi, and clear cutting strips that. It leaves it open to the elements, washes all away, and there's nothing there to die, rot and give nutrients to that soil. It's all regenerative. God, I can't speak today, but it's it's a system that regenerates itself. So dying, rotting trees will sprout new life, new trees. It's just like the way any animal will die and then new birth happens. So you want to regenerate this ecosphere. A lot of the bigger companies don't have a problem buying clear-cut timbers. They are more affordable, they are more accessible, and they're just everywhere. So finding a company that strictly doesn't use clear-cut timbers, in my eyes and in my opinion, that is a massive bonus. That is something that I really respect as a business. It means that their raw materials are a little bit more expensive, yes, but it means that they're not supporting what's the word I'm looking for? Like a whole system that actually damages other systems in our in the world, in this kind of revolving planet that we live on. So Breedlove is one of the few, I can name a couple others, but Breedlove is one of the few that do not use any clear-cut timbers in any of their guitars. Massive benefit. Completely respect them from that. They also do a lot of reclamation. So in areas where there have been clear cutting, you might see tree stumps which are still a metre from the ground. All that tree is going to do, for the most part, is just die and rot. And, you know, necessarily that's not a bad thing if you let it rot and then replant in that area, because there'll be a good amount of nutrients in there, but a lot of the time that never happens. So Breedlove also do a lot of reclamation, where they go to these areas and reclaim already felled timbers and help actually revive the land that's been left behind. So that is another thing which I really love. Instead of just one company going in there, smashing it all down and leaving just a complete mess in their wake, another company going in and being like, how can we restore the mess that we've just made as a race, as a human race. So that's another point. Another thing is we use a lot of exotic woods in guitar building. I know I'm rattling through things quite quickly, but if I don't, this is going to be a stupidly long video. We might make more specific videos on this in future, but a lot of the exotic woods and non-exotic woods, Sitka spruce for instance, you might see instruments, you know, in the spec sheet, their tops are made from Sitka spruce on an awful lot of guitars. Well, Sitka is a tree that needs 200 to 300 years to grow. These are old trees, so once we use it, we lose it. It's going to take hundreds of years before we can get another, you know, whole run of Sitka spruce, especially at the quality we need it for guitar building. So they still use Sitka, Breedlove, and other companies as well. I can mention off a few, but I'm trying to just cover Breedlove's ethos in this video. They still use Sitka, but they only use Sitka that has fallen down from natural causes. Say, you know, hurricane winds or lightning strikes, or if there is a fallen Sitka tree, they will go and reclaim that tree. They'll never fell a healthy tree. If it's got some sort of disease and it needs felling, that's also kind of classed under natural causes. But they'll never go and fell getting on for an ancient tree. So a tree of vast age, which that's another beautiful thing. We've seen this so many times in this industry, you know, Brazilian rosewood being one that most people would know about, where we use so much of it, and then suddenly, you know, Brazilian rosewood is a tree that takes 350 to 450 years to grow to get to a size where we can actually turn that into plates for guitar making. Otherwise it's too small, it's too sap filled, you know, it's not large enough to really get that quarter sawn section that you need from it for guitar building. So they need to be hundreds and hundreds of years old, and that's also why you see suddenly like a blanket ban. There is still Brazilian rosewood trees out there, but nothing like what we used to have, which is a real shame. The certification on trees has taken many years to actually come to fruition, and we're seeing Hawaiian koa go in exactly the same direction. You're not allowed to chop down another Hawaiian koa tree, whereas 5 years ago you'd see every single company getting on the koa bandwagon. They wanted all of their top of the line guitars made from koa. It was the new wood. but now we're not allowed to take down a single tree of koa anymore. I mean, all of that's been banned. So the only way you're going to get more koa instruments is either stock of koa that's sat there, and a lot of companies are now turning them into laminates, where they cut the wood super thin. If you imagine like a 3mm plate, you could get 30 odd laminate guitars from a 3mm plate. It's like paper thin, and they just stick it on some other bits of wood. So it's really nice to see a company that doesn't actually actively go out and fell older trees. They only reclaim when it's dying of natural causes or where it has fallen over from natural causes. So that is another big plus point for me. It's really kind of beautiful to see. Another part of the Breedlove story is that they've visited over 15 forests around the world and visited the people who maintain those forests, visited the sawmills, see how it affects the region and the people working in those regions. And if they follow practices that they don't necessarily agree upon, they just go somewhere else. So it's really nice that they've got men on the ground actually going to these places and making sure that their ethics of how they want to run the business goes right from square one. And a lot of the timbers that they get from forests, because mahogany is a big one, you know, the neck on this one is mahogany. It's very nice mahogany, but it's still mahogany. What happens there is, yes, they are felling that from forests, but a forest is an ever-changing ecosphere of many different species. So many different species of trees, of plants, they all share a small portion of land, which then each one provides a different stability of a different nutrients, or you know, they all work as one connected unit. So what happens in these forests is, say one is dominating the others, and you know, one tree is getting all of the nutrients and the growth, and the other ones are slowly dying off. That tree might get felled to let the other ones flourish. So it's all a balancing act, and it's highly maintained and highly certified as well. So they only support certified felling of timbers and forests and mills which actually maintain their land, and the forests that they are allowed to work in. So again, you don't see a lot of companies using fully certified timbers. It's a lot of it is hush hush and is quite hard to find. So unless the company actually states what they're doing, it is difficult to find out these things. And even in the industry, you know, I've been in the industry well over a decade now. I still struggle to try and, you know, pry this kind of information out from the actual distributors or the brands that I stock. So this is a difficulty within our industry, and I feel like more companies should take the stance of Breedlove in the fact that they want to maintain where they source their timbers and not just cut it and move on to the next forest, which does happen quite regularly. So no clear-cut trees, no felling of older species of timber, and maintaining the forest and cutting only certified woods from the forest where they source their materials. Those are like the big three. Another great aspect is, we talked about Sitka. They use a lot of experimental top woods. So this one is a myrtle wood top. And, you know, some luthiers have opinions of whether myrtle wood's good or not. This video is not really going to be talking about whether that's a good timber to use for a top or not, but it's a really good concept in the fact that we need to reduce our Sitka spruce intake, and the only way to do that is start thinking about different species of wood. So in my opinion, myrtle wood, yeah, is a really good alternative to that, and it's a wood that's far less used as a overall overarching timber in things like the furniture trade. So there's far more of it to go round. So, you know, whether you've got opinions of it, whether it's a good wood to use for a top or not, I personally do think it's a really good wood. It's got a really nice kind of balance of tonality. Fight me in the comments. I know there will be some fighting in the comments on this one, but finding different species of wood to lessen our Sitka spruce and even Engelmann spruce intake is something that I think is a very good idea, very good indeed. So they also have launched, Breedlove as a company have launched their Eco collection. So you see a lot of instruments, especially in the kind of sub like £600 price point these days, which have, or £650, which have laminate back and sides. So a solid top with laminate back and sides. A lot of those laminates are, like I said before, like paper thin bits of pretty wood which get slapped on some mediocre or poor quality centre wood, like the heart of it. So it's 3 layers that have all been glued together, and it's strong stuff. I mean, you could play... Oh, will someone get the phone? Yeah, it's really strong stuff. You could play a game of cricket with it, and not a problem at all. But the problem with most companies is that the core material of that laminate is just poor quality. It's very soft wood. Some companies use HPLs, high pressure laminates, which is basically just like a dozen layers of paper, resin and vacuum pressed together. So yeah, you're talking about a poor quality core material with some fancy paper thin wood stuck on top. Breedlove are the first company ever to produce, or like mass production company ever, to produce a laminate where it's actually the core material is still an African mahogany and a certified, you know, sustainable African mahogany with some, say, myrtle wood on the front and back. This is not only a better quality of laminate, but the whole thing, start to finish, has been sustainably sourced. So, you know, a company might say that they've got sustainability credentials, but that could only represent their solid plates they're talking about. You know, the spruces that they use on the top, or, you know, the back and sides might be solid, but what sustainability credentials do the laminate materials have? So a lot of it is marketing, you know, just I'm going to market it this way, and then that's going to get me more customers and more money in my pocket, where I'm just not going to mention all of the bits that don't quite match our ethos. So Breedlove has gone through their entire catalogue, and yes, the laminate ones are made in China, so you do get some air miles, which, you know, I do struggle sometimes with that. However, the price point that people expect guitars to be these days, we're never going to ever lose made in China, ever. I mean, it's just not going to happen. If you want an acoustic guitar sub £700, £850, it's going to be made in the Far East, whether that's China, Korea, Indonesia. They're even making guitars in places like Vietnam and things these days. However, Breedlove are the first mass manufacturing company to contact factories in China and ship them their timbers from their timber stores. So yes, that is a big thumbs up for me. The legislation and the control that a lot of the Chinese factories have is just not there. They just use and build whatever they get their hands on. So for Breedlove to say, yes, you can build our designs, but you have to use our timbers, and you can't build them until you have our timbers, is wonderful. Hand on heart, completely agree with that as a sentiment for building affordable guitars. And that's inherently, I mean, their American stuff gets quite pricey because you're talking custom shop level, but the made in China ones still have that ethos behind them, those sustainability credentials behind them, yet they come at a very affordable price point. So you're looking at starting at £500 and going up from there, which is really good from a sustainability side of things. A lot of the same, or a lot of brands that have credentials like this, they command 4 figures, straight up. So it's wonderful to see a company trying something different, doing something different. The owner of Breedlove, Tom Bedell, I believe that's how you pronounce it, he's doing some wonderful things when it comes to sustainability in our industry, and it's something that I thoroughly enjoy to see. There's too many of these big companies, I won't name the big boys, but you know who I'm talking about, the big F, the big G's, that kind of stuff, who just, chop down a nice bit of exotic timber where they're not legally allowed to do it and float it down the Amazon, pick it out of the river, further down, and away they go. And at the end of the financial year, they just pay the fines and carry on trading. It's more economically viable to keep on, doing some not so kosher deforestation to then be able to make more unique instruments. Whereas, I think that's actually a really shady way of doing business, which I prefer not to support by all means. Anyhow, without ranting on too long, this has been a long enough video. Breedlove do some wonderful stuff. The company has really a good heart behind them. Their guitars are brilliant to play. I mean, it's not just talking about, it's not just saying, oh yeah, they're sustainable, so you should buy them. No, and a guitar needs to resonate with you. But not only does the guitar, I believe that if you resonate with the people who actually build them as well, it makes you far more proud of owning one, which makes you far more proud to pick it up, and you want to show your mates, and you play it differently. You want to, just put your heart into it. The guitars are something that are an extension of ourselves. So if we can't feel proud of the instrument we own, then I mean, what's the point really? You want your heart to be in this, and well, my heart's definitely in this as an industry and as a business, and I feel like we're going in the right way with companies like Breedlove. They've only been going full sustainable since 21, and I'm glad they made the move there. And the other companies that I mentioned, people like Go Down Guitars, they actually have their own forests where they grow their own timbers and maintain that ecosphere like I talked about. Davina Guitars from Slovakia, they use only strictly certified timbers and get them from legitimate sources where it's completely certified legal foresting. And there's a fair few others which I can't I can't rattle them all off from the top of my head, but yeah, with the Breedlove story, it's one that they're trying in every aspect of from source to customer. How can we make this as sustainable as possible, nourish our atmosphere and our ecosphere, and also kind of not shove it down people's throats. I mean, the main marketing is these are beautiful guitars, you know, play them, and Mercerwood is a big part of their marketing. Sustainability is actually a little bit down the list when you look at their website, and sound optimization, Mercerwood, build from the heart, that's all what they preach about. So then it's not like they're shoving it down your throat and making it a whole, like, you've got to buy it because it's sustainable. No, they just want to follow a practice that they themselves can be proud on. And I feel like as a retailer, I'm also technically a consumer. I buy these items to then pass them on to consumers, to our lovely customers. I want to be proud in the products that I supply. And I feel like as a customer, you should also be proud in the product that you end up owning. So, Breedlove is something that I'm proud to supply. They get very little rep in this area, and I feel that needs to change. So, you'll see a few more videos of me coming out with these lovely guitars. We've got some sound demos on the way. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and cheers guys, I'll see you in the next one.